Earlier today I introduced a new mini-series which I'm gonna call Food That Looks After You, and in that little episode I showed you how I freeze my vegetables, including some soffritto, and this is the very first proper cooking episode of the new series where I'm going to be cooking the simplest food that you can imagine. Cannellini and red kidney beans. I've soaked them overnight, and there were 400 grams altogether when I started, 200 grams of each type, and a bay leaf goes in. And I've got here some cold water, and I've just turned my hob on, and I'll fill the little saucepan with cold water. Important to use cold water, not hot water, otherwise your beans might split. And I'll cover them approximately 1 inch from the top of my very top layer of the beans. And I'll turn the temperature up on maximum, and I'll wait until they start boiling, and this will take about anything between 40 minutes to an hour to completely cook. Check them because they might take less depending on the size of your beans, but obviously they need to be cooked before you can continue. So I'll see you in about 40 minutes to an hour. An hour hasn't passed, by the way, but I just forgot to say that as soon as they start boiling, turn them down onto medium, oops, I'm turning them up, onto medium to low, and I'll place the lid on, and then 45 minutes to an hour from now. After 45 minutes, I checked them, and they were still a little bit crunchy. After an hour, I checked them, and the cannellini beans were done, but the red kidney beans were still a little bit on the crunchy side. So I left them for a further 10 minutes. I'll test the red kidney ones. They're nearly there, so I can get started. Be careful with beans because they need to cook properly, otherwise you could get tummy ache. So do ensure that they're properly cooked. So I'll move this over here, and I'll start on my soffritto next. And today I will be cooking everything in the same saucepan, so a little olive oil at the bottom of it. Earlier today I chopped and froze a combination of carrot, celery and onions, the base of my soffritto. So this is frozen, but I'll get a good couple of handful, maybe 2.5, that's perfect. Tin of chopped tomatoes, or you can also use a carton of tomato passata if you like. I'm gonna pinch a little bit of the broth from my beans and rinse the tin. I didn't add any salt to the beans, and I'm adding it now, and likewise I'll do the same with some pepper. And I'll give this a good mix, and I'll leave the tomato to cook for about 5 minutes so that it amalgamates with the rest of the vegetables. I'm cooking for 4 people today, so I'll carry enough of my beans for the number of people I'm cooking for, not the bay leaf, I don't need that anymore. So I'm scooping at the moment some of the beans. I'll make it 6 scoops. The rest I'll keep them, and I will use them tomorrow, the day after. I'm mooring 3 ladles or 2.5 ladles of my beans in there, and I'm going to pinch a little bit more of the broth from over there in here. I've got a blender here, and I'll blend everything together. You can make this really smooth if you like, or like me, you might want to leave it slightly crunchier, as it will give you still a creamy and smoother finish, but it will be a little bit more rustic. And as always, the choice of pasta is very subjective. Today I'm using some Sicilian bussiata, which I bought from a specialized shop, but if I didn't have this, I would have used conchiglie, which is the shell. And actually, more often than not, I do use conchiglie, but my daughter is here visiting after Christmas, and we decided to go for this pasta, which is slightly nicer. You will have noticed that I'm not cooking the pasta in water. I'm adding it straight into my mix over here, and that is another feature of this dish, as it will cook in the broth of my beans very slowly, and it will release even more cream. So I'm now going along here and pinching some of my broth and adding it in. Also I'm making sure that I do not add too much, so I'll go along with my spoon, mix it in well, and if I find the lid over here, I'll place the lid on, and it will help cooking without too much of the water evaporating. So I'll check it every 2 to 3 minutes, and I'll show you along the way what it looks like. Let's have a look. And this is very important, especially if you're cooking with hard durum pasta, as it will be absorbing even more of the liquid. So do ensure that you've got plenty of stock. Some has been absorbed. You can see that if I just lift my pan, I've got less now, so time to add a little bit more. And quite simply, really, just go along and pick more broth. Don't worry if you're carrying more beans, the more the merrier, and I'll just carry on. And I'll continue until the pasta is totally cooked. I would recommend that this type of pasta, regardless of what you're using, you cook it through all the way, not al dente. It is nice to be soft and warming in texture. So I'll see you once the pasta is totally cooked, and I'll show you what I'll do with my little sauce in a moment. So I have run out of stock. You can see that I'm bone dry, but my pasta is still not ready. No problem at all. I was a little bit mean obviously at the beginning, but you can see that my pasta is still not cooked and it's desperate for more liquid, so just add some more water. I've boiled my kettle, so I'm going to be topping it up with water, and it's not a problem because there is plenty of flavor in my beans, and the water will just dilute with everything else, and you will not notice it. Actually, as it happens, I will add a little bit more, so that that will be the lot there, and it's nearly done. So this is what I'm looking for something which is brothy enough so that when it's in my dish it will look pretty good. So a few more minutes and this will be almost ready. And I say almost because here is my mix of beans that needs to go in next. One final mix and one more minute and this will be ready. And obviously the beans which I have blended will make my pasta even creamier. You can see what I'm referring to. It looks absolutely beautiful. Of course, if you want to, you can make this a meat eater's version by adding some sausages or bacon or both, but do that when you are frying the soffritto, and it will be even more flavorful. But I'm making mine vegetarian today, and this month I will be eating a lot of vegetarian food. So there it is, finishing touches. Yes, you guessed it, this is parsley, which again I freeze, and there's a little video if you're interested. I'll just put a little on top, and of course inevitably some Parmesan cheese first, followed by a little olive oil, which as I often say, it provides such a beautiful flavor at the end when everything is cooked. And mix it together and see what it's like. Hot for death now. I've said it before, beans pasta is one of my favorite since I was a child, and you saw me making it. It's so simple, so healthy, and so delicious. Hopefully you've enjoyed this very fast episode, and look forward to seeing you the next one. Thank you for watching. Ciao ciao.